Hey, welcome to another episode of the D&VShow. आज के episode में we have a lovely topic, which is the FIFA World Cup. It's a global phenomenon, probably the biggest sporting event, or quite frankly, any of all events in the world. I've been following it very closely. I'm a big football, soccer fan. Vandan here, I guess, this is probably what your first real World Cup that you're getting into.
Yeah, in a way. I made an effort to, see pretty much all the World Cups, but since this is in US and, I can feel the vibes around me, I think, yeah, you could say that this is the one I more closely watched.
So I guess let me ask you some questions since you're fairly new to this level of football, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts in terms of how you would compare, some of the controversial aspects, right? People are complaining about the referees and how the VAR technology is being applied almost arbitrarily, where it's not consistent.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
So, big disclosure. I would come from a perspective of cricket because that's what I watch and have been watching, and I play to an extent as well. So, first thing I feel is referee has a lot of say in the proceedings, which in a way I don't like. In cricket, empires have a say, but then you have a good review system where 95% decisions are, pretty much fair. Even if the umpire gets it wrong, the players can review it. And everybody's eventually at the end of the day, they are happy. And one thing I found really confusing is that I'm not aware of what's really going on the field. Like, are they even checking? Are they asking for VAR? Are they not?
Yeah.
In cricket, it's pretty seamless, right? There is a process. Like, every umpire follows, makes a signal, and then you can also hear the umpire, what he's seeing. Okay, no bat involved, pitching outside, leg off, whatever. There's a murmur. So you can see what umpire is seeing and going through it and making the decision. And agree or not, you would know where the umpire is coming from. In this thing, for 30 seconds, a minute, I'm looking around. Are they even reviewing it or not? And then the guy starts kicking the ball, and that's how everybody's. They didn't even review it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous for such a big sport, and I don't think they have money shortage.
Yeah.
That would be weird if they have it. So,
I agree. I think they do need to get VAR sorted.
So technology could be much better. Refereeing, they have a lot of say. It shouldn't be the case. They should only have 5-10% say in the game. And even if they get it wrong, the other team should be able to challenge it. So, that aspect, it's 100 years behind cricket, if you ask me.
Yeah. Now makes sense. I think they're still getting into adopting technology. There's always been this notion with soccer that we don't want anything that's going to slow down the game, right? Because that it fundamentally drives the game, is the aspect of stamina.
So how do you feel about hydration break then?
I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I think hydration break is the worst thing that can happen to the sport, quite frankly. It is, if I dare say it is the Americanization of the sport. It's like cricket is
like
infused with this level of nonsense, right?
The stupid thing where you have too many restrictions and too many power plays, and so it's kind of
but
getting
you
there.
Remember, there never used to be a timeout in cricket until the IPL really brought it in, right? I'm sure there are other leagues that are testing it, but at a bigger scale, there never was a timeout.
Yeah.
So what did that mean? That meant there was an aspect of stamina that was built into the sport. And why is that important? Because players are building their strength, their agility, and their stamina, balancing the three based on what the timings of the sport are, right? So in soccer, if you give someone 3 minutes extra, you're going to see a lot more bulkier, bigger players. It'll essentially turn into rugby or the NFL after a while, right? The NFL, for example, American football, or even rugby, you see the size of the players. They are that big because they can afford to be that big, because they know they'll get the breaks in between to get their stamina back, right? In soccer, you had to run 45 minutes straight. Now, you've got all these VAR calls where sometimes these players are getting a full minute in between.
And you're right. So technically, there's no time restriction for VAR.
Yeah.
On paper.
I think I've seen one time when it went to 2 minutes.
I'm not saying everybody would.
But it went to 2 minutes, which is huge, right?
Yeah.
2 minutes is huge in football because, fundamentally, you can get a player that is 6'4", 200 pounds, probably 8% body fat, a big muscular fellow, which you could never do 10, 15 years ago, right? So you're fundamentally changing the sport, and that is my problem with hydration breaks, and you're doing it at one of the biggest tournaments in the world. Like if you do it,
Some
if you
leagues,
exactly. You
yeah.
start in a league, see how it goes,
then,
let it develop, and then let it get in. I mean, the whole strategy of the sport will change with hydration breaks, right? I'm not a big fan.
So in cricket, like, yeah, there's this, not problem, but there's this phenomenon. Whenever there's a timeout, I don't remember the percentage, but like the amount of time you lose wicket right after, like in few balls,
The momentum shifts, right?
After the timeout,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And my follow-up question to you was, is that why we are seeing so many goals in this tournament?
I agree.
Because, yeah, I don't remember exactly the numbers, but I heard one of the guys on the commentary team saying that this is the World Cup that has seen the largest number of goals. And that could be the reason why, because hydration breaks change momentums, players have more energy, so they are being more, aggressive, attacking maybe.
No, it makes sense. I think, you're seeing people that are able to run faster, harder. Heck, why do you even need hydration breaks in America? Our stadiums here have air conditioning. It's the only place on the planet right now that is known to have multiple sports being played. Yeah, sure, the Middle East probably has one or two stadiums, right? But I'm saying at mass, at scale, the Atlanta Stadium is air conditioned, right? The Dallas Cowboys Stadium, which is converted for this World Cup to a football field, has air conditioning, right? You're dealing with 23 Celsius, like 72, 75 Fahrenheit. You don't need a hydration break for that. The $5 billion stadium in California, the Los Angeles one, right? The SoFi Stadium. That is fully air conditioned. Why do you need a hydration break?
I think only Miami doesn't have it, but
yeah. No, I mean, there's Boston, there's Kansas City as well, right? They also don't have it. And then obviously the ones in Canada
but yeah, more
and
than
Mexico.
half you would say they have the
but why do you need a hydration break? It should be subjective.
That's not what athletes are built for, right?
And it used to be, so when the World Cup was in, I believe it was in Turkey at one point, or in that Mediterranean region, there was an article that came out that the English players lost 15 pounds after practicing and playing over 2 days, okay? That was, again, some of this is exaggerated, right? But it was basically water loss because of all the heat and humidity. So what? Everybody kept playing. What? The human anatomy has all of a sudden changed in like 15, 20 years that we need hydration breaks. It's just a money-making scheme,
I think
right?
it is more financial than anything.
Because they can play more ads, but that just changes the sport completely. So I don't agree with it at all, right? I think the other thing I was going to ask you was, what did you think about the crowds, right? Because I love this aspect of football. I mean, you cannot get this in any other sport to the scale, the uniqueness. Every country has obviously you've got some Looney Tune folks as well, but by and large, most people are well disciplined, behaved. They bring their unique characters, right? Like you had the Juju Man, you had the Ro, the Ru or the Norwegians.
I'm a big fan.
Right? You've got Argentinian fans that literally took over Kansas City and they were up till like 1 a.m. With their thing. You had Mexican fans doing fireworks to keep the English players awake. I mean, it's been incredible so far.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I'm coming from cricket background and whatever I've seen in cricket, right? I would say, fans are much more interesting, I would say, and rowdy at times. Cricket, I mean, good or bad, I think it's a good aspect of cricket. Even Indian-Pakistan match going on, you wouldn't, see a lot of skirmishes or people getting back at each other. I haven't seen that. So that's what I love about cricket. I mean, I guarantee you, if there is an India-Pakistan game and there is a pub or whatever place, I don't think you would see any such scenes. But I don't know, football is different. I see people are more animated, more into it, more expressive, I would say. So that's a different aspect, and if you ask me, I kind of love that.
ये जो चीज़ है ना, इसमें तो यहाँ के जो अमेरिकन्स है ना, क्योंकि उनके लिए 94 में लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप हुआ था, so it's been like what, almost 32 plus years,
30 plus
right?
years,
30 plus years. तो वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि यार हमारे इतने सारे स्पोर्ट्स है यहाँ पे, इतना खेलते हैं हम लोग, people are crazy, they spend more money than even the cost of the tickets here, right? For domestic sports, people spend more money, right? NFL and other sports. फिर भी ये जो सिंगिंग है, गेम खत्म हो गई है, फिर भी लोग 3-4 घंटे तक बैठे हुए हैं, और प्लेयर्स भी क्राउड को इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं, गा रहे हैं उनके साथ. आई मीन, you've got everybody singing along, right? ये नॉर्वेजियन लोग उनका ड्रम लेके आते हैं, इंग्लिश इंग्लैंड इज सिंगिंग वंडरवॉल इज देयर ऑफिशियल सॉन्ग. मतलब वो जो माहौल है ना,
ये
है ही नहीं कोई दूसरे स्पोर्ट में. एंड आई थिंक इट इज समथिंग वी शुड ऑल चेरिश एंड ट्राई टू रियली स्प्रेड, बिकॉज स्पोर्ट अल्टीमेटली लोगों को कनेक्ट करता है, right?
That's
Like
a very good point.
like I'm wearing a US jersey right now. I'm telling you, there are people here that are sworn enemies of soccer. यहाँ पे soccer बोलते हैं, right? बस उनको ऐसा है कि अरे ये हमारा स्पोर्ट है ही नहीं, ये यूरोप वालों का स्पोर्ट है और हम लोग ने तो यूरोपियन से फ्रीडम ली थी तो उनका स्पोर्ट हमको नहीं खेलना है. There is this sort of notion here, right? Women's team does really well, लेकिन men's team में जो है, which is honestly what is most people follow, right? तो इतना यहाँ पे इतना क्रेज हो गया है. एवरी स्कूल किड इज चीयरिंग फॉर द यूएस टीम. तो वो जो एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट होता है ना, आई एम टेलिंग यू, इट ब्रिंग्स पीपल टुगेदर.
It heals the world.
It truly does. I mean,
We needed this at this
Yes.
point where there's a lot of trouble in the world. I think I really have. Sometimes you have to take a step back and appreciate this. Like people from all around the world, they come together, they enjoy the game. Yeah, and yeah, I didn't see any bad or something in poor taste. So
No, it's thank God it's been
yeah.
great so far.
Yeah.
वहाँ यूरोप में राइट्स हो गए, यहाँ पे अभी कुछ नहीं हुआ फ्रांस मोरक्को की गेम के बाद.
yeah.
लेकिन आई थिंक the other thing that I was saying was, वर्ल्ड कप चालू होने से पहले सबको बहुत पोलिटिसाइज थोड़ा हुआ था. पीपल वर नॉट श्योर हाउ all the navigation and just the ability of the US to deal with the World Cup would go. But so far so good. Knock on wood, it's been great. I think stadiums have been amazing. The crowds are good. No issues with transportation. कोई ऐसा कुछ ये क्या बोलते हैं, पुलिस एनफोर्समेंट का कोई इश्यू नहीं हुआ है. People are posting videos of all kinds. Just really happy with the level of facilities, जो training facilities है. मतलब यहाँ पे तो culture ही है. आप high school का
America
ground
knows
देख
how
लो.
to do sports, man.
Exactly.
I mean, I was watching some videos on social media and people lost their minds how big the high school stadiums are in the US.
They're huge.
So US, I mean, I wouldn't say we, but they know how to do sport.
Yeah. So talking about sport, right? Obviously, I know you don't follow it as much. Lekin this is the first time the tournament has more than 32 teams. तो एक पूरा राउंड एक्स्ट्रा जो प्रोसेस सीक्वेंस होता है, राइट, 7 गेम्स टिल यू बेसिकली गेट टू द कप. तो एक राउंड पूरा ऐड हो गया उसके वजह से. और इफ यू आस्क मी, आई एम नॉट अ बिग फैन ऑफ दिस 48 टीम फॉर्मेट. आई थिंक इट्स जस्ट बेसिकली द DEIfication, trying to diversify the pool of teams that can win just artificially, right? बड़ा के कितना बड़ा टूर्नामेंट करने वाले हो. It's already 1.5 months, right? People get kind of tired and burnt out.
Yeah.
Lekin, what are your thoughts? Like anything that stood out to you in terms of what you saw with some of the lesser known teams?
So yeah, this problem of, I mean, it's a larger problem. So like, in order to be inclusive, we are kind of diluting the quality. Like we want to include everyone, but like, do we have to? And this problem has happened in cricket. Like one of these World Cups, I think we had 18 or 24 teams.
वो आयरलैंड को खिलाते हैं, फिर ये नेदरलैंड्स और सबको. लेकिन नेदरलैंड्स is actually doing well, right?
Yeah, I don't remember which one, but like, yeah, we had such a bad experience. I think ICC has gone back to only test playing nations, and only 10 or nations are allowed to play. So this experiment has been done in cricket before. It's not good for sport. It's not good for fans. Maybe good for sponsors, broadcasters. But you have to have some certain standards to get into the World Cup. We have like 190 plus odd countries, and if you have 48, 64, what are we doing? Like we are just saying, hey, come everyone, let's just play.
नहीं, अभी तो इनको बढ़ाना है. ये फीफा का जो प्रेसिडेंट है ना, he is saying that उसको 2030 जो वर्ल्ड कप है, I think it's in Portugal, Morocco and Spain, right? वो 3 कंट्री में. He wants to increase the number of teams by another 10 or 12, या जो भी उसका
So India
combination
might have
है.
a chance, or no? Still
India
no.
is not gonna have a chance. I mean, they didn't even qualify for the Asia Cup.
Hey, they have to do the 100 teams though. Maybe then we can qualify.
What, like half the world
Yeah,
is playing,
half
and
the
of
world,
course
exactly.
you're gonna make it. But I mean, look, we laugh about this, right?
I mean,
It's not meant to be an insult to India.
It
but
is laughable. Like,
लेकिन
you have
इंडिया का problem है.
4 billion people and you can't find like 11 good guys to play. And there's some like islands who are not even the size of
Curacao or Cape Verde. Cape Verde is the one that is a shocker, right?
अहमदाबाद के size के भी नहीं है भाई, those islands. And I mean, it's a generalization and it's kind of stupid to compare, but your mind still thinks about it. कि इतने सारे players आ जा रहे हैं, like we are such a...
Yeah, लेकिन I mean, we talk about India, right? So obviously वो topic थोड़ा complex है. Covered quite well on the internet. लेकिन आई थिंक व्हाट्स इंटरेस्टिंग इज, मैं कॉन्ट्रास्ट करता हूँ क्योंकि एक साइड से मैं यूएस टीम को चीयर कर रहा हूँ, एंड आई हैव द सेम फ्रस्ट्रेशंस दैट I used to have when I lived in India and I see people still having about that, right? कि चल US तो एटलीस्ट क्वालिफाई हो रही है, लेकिन फंडामेंटली जो प्रॉब्लम है ना US में, इट्स द एग्जैक्ट फ्लिप इन इंडिया. इंडिया में क्या है कि ग्राउंड लेवल पे द लीग्स डोंट एग्जिस्ट टू द सेम लेवल. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ करप्शन. पैसा नहीं है इतना जितना क्रिकेट में है. स्ट्रक्चर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फोकस नहीं है बराबर से. यूएस का कंप्लीट ऑपोजिट है. यूएस में बहुत पैसा है टू द पॉइंट वेयर पीपल आर पुटिंग देयर ओन मनी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पे आप 12 साल के बच्चे को लीग में डालोगे एंड लेट्स से द किड इज वेरी गुड राइट. तो उसका जो वो रीजनल और नेशनल लेवल की जो लीग्स है ना, you can end up spending upwards of $10,000 to $15,000 on a kid, which is crazy. Tax paid money, that's a lot of money, right? तो और लोग पे भी कर रहे हैं. ऐसा नहीं है लीग्स यहाँ पे क्रेजी चल रही है, इसीलिए तो ऑब्वियसली दे एटलीस्ट मेक इट टू द वर्ल्ड कप. लेकिन दे जस्ट गेट टू द वर्ल्ड कप, उसके बाद तो उनकी पिटाई होने वाली है. लाइक द यूएस हैज नेवर मेड इट आउटसाइड द राउंड ऑफ 16 ever. Like I think one time they got to the quarterfinals in 2002. That was also against Mexico. It's more like a rivalry that is in the same continent. It's not like a European team or some true South American team that you're fighting against. तो पैसे से भी ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो रही है. लेकिन जो एक्सपोज हो रहा है ना मेरे हिसाब से इंडिया और यूएस दोनों में, ये है कि आपको ग्राउंड लेवल पे एक मोमेंटम, एक कल्चर बिल्ड करना है और आपको एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऐसी बिल्ड करनी है कि पैसे है या नहीं है, आपको प्लेयर की टैलेंट को डेवलप करने का कॉन्सेप्ट है, राइट? यहाँ पे यूएस में क्या है, सबको जीतना है. क्यों? क्योंकि मैं अपने बच्चे के पीछे $10,000 पे कर रहा हूँ. आई वांट टू मेक श्योर आई एम गोइंग टू गो टू द कोच दैट सेज आई विल मेक योर किड विन. सो उसका कॉन्फिडेंस बूस्ट होगा. फिर वो शायद कॉलेज में खेले या ना खेले, एटलीस्ट यू विल हैव अ किड दैट इज वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट दैट ग्रू अप प्लेइंग स्पोर्ट्स एंड विनिंग, राइट? लेकिन उसकी स्किल डेवलप नहीं हो रही है उसके अंदर. तो क्या हो रहा है उसमें कि the kids that are bigger in size that kind of mature a bit further, those are the ones that are getting selected for the leagues. So yeah, they are winning at this age, but what happens when they get to the World Cup? And we saw that when they were playing Belgium, the US was completely in a different skill level. मतलब कोई comparison, और Belgium कुछ इतनी amazing team नहीं है, but we had no skill relatively speaking.
So as an outsider, isn't it more embarrassing for US than India? Like so much money, so many leagues, so much hype happening in your backyard, and you still play like a high school team.
Yes, we literally look like a house school team.
I mean, I felt like it was a waste of time to watch that game.
It was. I mean, they played well before that, but
before
this
that,
was
yes,
a complete
I'm talking
throwaway.
about the round of 16.
I mean, absolutely high school team जैसी
High
लग
school
रही थी.
team, man.
वो लोग बॉल पकड़ नहीं रहे. I mean, they couldn't even pass properly. That's how bad it was, right?
Spoiled for money, I guess.
But यही बोल रहा हूँ.
They
तो
don't care.
लोग बोल रहे हैं इंडिया में पैसा नहीं है, but पैसा is one aspect of it. आपको स्ट्रक्चर, कल्चर, मोमेंटम, आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव बेस्ड ट्रेनिंग होना चाहिए, राइट? कि भाई प्लेयर्स को यंग एज में स्किल के लिए लेके आओ. जीते ना जीते इज सेपरेट इश्यू. लाइक ऑब्वियसली यू वांट देम टू हैव द माइंडसेट ऑफ विनिंग, लेकिन डेवलप करना है, राइट? और ये यूरोप वालों का सिस्टम है. साउथ अमेरिका में भी ये लोग का सेम सिस्टम है, राइट? मैक्सिको और सब जगह पे, सेंट्रल अमेरिका में भी है रिलेटिवली स्पीकिंग, लेकिन वहां पे पैसे का थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. तो बट आई थॉट दैट वाज इंटरेस्टिंग. अभी तो दूसरी बात हम लोग कर रहे थे, राइट? सो वी टॉक अबाउट ऑल दीज स्मॉल टीम्स. ऑब्वियसली पीपल लव Cabo Verde, Cape Verde, right? It's like a little island off the coast of Africa, I think, right? And then you got Curacao as well, which didn't make it past the first round, but I think they are off the coast of South America. You've got these small islands that are coming in, playing, with their hearts. Let's just say that, right? Skill level भी surprisingly उनकी अच्छी है, लेकिन there is one caveat that I think is interesting for India to consider. आप मोरक्को को भी देख लो, right? Morocco never used to be this good years ago. क्या है उनकी strategy? The vast majority of Moroccan players are not even born in Morocco. वो लोग ने बेसिकली जो इंडिया में OCI कार्ड होता है ना, वैसे OCI से लोगों को बुला लिया कि भाई आप यूरोप में बड़े हुए हो, आप यूरोप में ट्रेन हुए हो अकेडमी में, आपके पास स्किल लेवल तो है, आप शायद वहाँ की नेशनल टीम में क्वालिफाई ना हो, लेकिन हमारी टीम में आ जाओ, हम आपको ले लेंगे और पैसे वैसे सब दे देंगे, और आपको यू हैव अ कनेक्शन हियर एनीवे, राइट? कि मे बी आप अप डाउन कर रहे हो या आप बच्चे थे और तब गए हुए हो. But I find that very odd, dude. I'm like, think about it. Let's suppose that my kid over here, right? So I'm an immigrant, obviously, to the US. Yes. My kid over here, in theory, can get an OCI card in the future and go back to India as a resident, right? But that's weird. Like, this kid grew up here. There is a sense of national pride and belonging. How can you play for, your parental ancestral country? It's just so.
But that's on you.
It feels morally wrong.
It is, but that's on you. No law is stopping you, and if you are,
नहीं लॉ की तो बात नहीं है, ऑफिशियल है, राइट? आई मीन इसमें
That's what I'm
प्रॉब्लम नहीं
saying,
है.
but I mean, it is a problem. I'm agreeing with you.
It's more, I find it morally just not
It's like
aligned.
if my kid is born here and, you know, whatever capacity, if he's playing for a nation, he's playing for America. He's
exactly.
not playing for India. And that would be, you know, I don't know. I
Dude,
don't know what
I
the
would not
correct
want
word
to play
is.
for India right now. Like, I took an oath to the US Constitution
that's-
when I became a citizen, right? It feels weird to undo
Yeah.
all of that and go play just because you are not eligible to play here
Yeah.
because you're not good enough. Let's put it that way.
A lot of, I hate to say it, but a lot of these immigrants or a lot of these countries use the privilege to, you know, get a green card or citizenship in Europe or America. It's just for them to, you know, get by in life. They don't care. They don't care what America does. If there is a war, they will be the first one to leave
I mean,
and go back.
वो अलग बात है. लेकिन let me play devil's advocate here, right?
It's the same logic if you ask
So let me play devil's advocate. Morocco का example ले लो. Morocco is a success story in this strategy. Whether you agree with the national pride thing or not, कि भाई आप French citizen हो तो आप यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हो मोरक्को में, लेकिन it has leveled the playing field where now it doesn't feel like this World Cup is just basically 8 or 10 teams and the rest of them are just filler material. Like, yeah, Morocco went out against France, but France is France, right? But last World Cup they did amazing. उनका स्टैंडर्ड बड़ा है. तो पॉइंट इज कि अभी चलो प्लेयर्स तो बाहर से बुलाए ये टीम के लिए, लेकिन डोमेस्टिक प्लेयर्स इसके वजह से वो लेवल पे आके थोड़ा सीखेंगे, क्योंकि इंडिया में यही प्रपोज हो रहा है अभी. इवन यूएस में देयर आर पीपल दैट आर सजेस्टिंग कि यूएस में भी आप कर सकते हो ये सेम चीज, राइट? आई मीन टेक्निकली स्पीकिंग आवर गाय स्ट्राइकर बैलोगन, राइट, हु इज द यूएस स्ट्राइकर, he is, I think his one of his parents were like Nigerian and then the father was like of European descent or something. ऐसा ही कुछ था. और नॉट डिसेंट बट लाइक यूरोपियन सिटीजन या कुछ था. और वो बॉर्न यहाँ का हुआ है, लेकिन आई थिंक ही प्लेड इन द यूरोपियन लीग्स एंड देन ही केम बैक टू. सो इवन द यूएस हैज अ प्लेयर लाइक दैट. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि everybody's doing
so
it.
maybe it's okay. See, that's the point. Like, yeah, if everybody does it, it's certainly, I mean, it becomes okay after a point, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't think it's illegal, but it's kind of immoral to an extent.
मतलब let me put it this way. If you are, let's say, a Moroccan and you are saying, yeah, Morocco won, let's say they won the World Cup, did you win? Or did you bring imported players that won you? Because these people don't even live in Morocco.
But that's I'm not a big fan and I don't follow news as much, but wasn't there a little bit of controversy last World Cup where there are no more people were saying like, oh, France team, but where are the French players?
नहीं, वो तो देखो अभी आपके कंट्री में तो यूएस में सालों से ऐसा ही है, राइट? उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आई मीन व्हाट्स रॉन्ग? यू हैव पीपल that have naturalized cities, they are naturalized citizens, वो खेल सकते हैं, राइट? I mean, I'm a naturalized citizen myself for the US. If I had the ability, I would play for the national team.
But like, it's like US cricket team, right? Like, somebody would say an outsider, where is an American? Technically, they are.
No, but that's wrong, right? I mean, I think that's just prejudice.
I mean,
first like, what is who defines what being an American
First
is?
Amendment, right? Like,
no,
people can say stuff, yeah.
We can say that, but I don't think that's right. I think what Amitabh Bachchan made a comment, right? He said something like the power of black, and I was like, this is so weird. Why would you say that? It's irrelevant. Every country is diverse. You have different groups coming in, and if people are, you want the best players ultimately. But then, like, no one can debate that France has a lesser team just because they are trying to fit a certain agenda. This is the best team that you could probably produce in France.
I mean, it might turn into a political debate, so I'm kind of refraining from it, but because there is this logic in the world, there's one school of thought where everybody should get the equal amount of representation, but in certain cases, if certain groups are not involved, suddenly everybody's okay with it.
But sports has always been merit-based, right? I mean that's the one area where merit really matters is sport, right? Like, you're not trying to fit like this group ki okay ये इतने percentage population, like India है for example.
Okay, since we are talking
let's take India. नहीं इंडिया की बात करते हैं. इंडिया है तो क्या करते हैं? क्रिकेट के अंदर ऐसा करते हैं कि महाराष्ट्र का इतना पॉपुलेशन है तो महाराष्ट्र से इतने प्लेयर तो चाहिए ही अपने को. तमिलनाडु से इतने प्लेयर तो चाहिए ही अपने को.
That was the logic back in the day. Yes, you had to have certain player from certain regions. Still, if you think about it,
but that undoing that has brought so much success to India, right?
We should not do. Yeah, it should all be on merit. I agree.
Yeah. तो I mean, इसमें आए वो तो बोलने वाले तो बोलते रहेंगे. I don't think that's fair. दूसरा तो let me ask you this other piece, right? तो यहाँ पे ये स्टेडियम और सबकी तो बात हो गई. We were talking about goals, right? some people make the argument कि यार ये ना थोड़ा कब boring है, points नहीं आते इसमें.
What does that
Do
mean?
you find like football boring when there are not enough goals?
Oh yeah.
You are cricket वाले.
That's a cricketer in
IPL में 200 रन तो चाहिए अपने को.
Even in test cricket, if somebody is not making any runs for like 2-3 overs, and if they barely make 1 or 2 run an over, it's like, oh man, what is going on?
अरे वो 5 दिन की गेम है, कहाँ कंपेयर कर रहे हो आप? वो रील ना मैं वैसे खुदा का गॉफ कीजिए. I'm gonna tell you that reel. What are you talking about?
I'm just telling you, man.
It's
Yeah.
a 90-minute game versus a 5-day game. Bro.
After like if it's 0-0 after 70 minutes, it's like, oh man, what have I even watched?
Dude, come on.
It's such a waste
Dude,
of time.
Come on. Like,
Hey, what's the point? To score more goals, right? Okay. Yeah, it is boring, but if you ask me.
क्या बात है यार.
But yeah, as I hear your point. Like as a purist, like yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Like it's not just about goals; it's about grinding it out and waiting for opportunity. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but you don't stop trying. And maybe we have seen goals in the 90th minute or 93rd.
बहुत सारे late goals है ये बात.
And suddenly from 0-0 it becomes 1-0. On a scorecard, it's like, yeah, what a boring game, man. 1-0 versus something 5-3 or 5-4. But then as a purist, you would know that 1-0 was more fun. Just like low-scoring games in cricket, right? It might be boring for a lot of people, but if you're a purist and you enjoy good bowling attack and good bowling conditions, yeah, it's a good game. So
मतलब मोमेंटम के बेस में, I mean कभी-कभी स्लो खेलते हैं, right? Like it's a classic वो Italian style of soccer है उसमें.
Yeah, I hate that.
Right? इधर से इधर बॉल घुमाते रहते हैं पूरे मैच में. और फिर ऐसा लगता है ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग, पिंग पोंग खेलने आए हो यहाँ पे या एक्चुअल फुटबॉल खेलने आए हो?
That could be a strategy, right? Like, yeah, take your time and attack at the right point. So, defensive game. But yeah, it is short answer. Yes, I find it boring as a casual fan.
बराबर है.
Okay, I had a question that I had in my mind about because I know you have been a fan for a long time and you have been following all the World Cups. So what do you find different in this one from all the previous ones we have seen? And your son plays soccer too, right? And now I think this was the first one for you where he's also kind of, this is interesting. So how that experience has been?
It's been amazing. I mean, I think my kid, like I said, is probably an example of what we saw at all the sports bars and like the public viewing places that we've been here. Like young kids are really getting into the sport. यहाँ पे at least US में इतना craze नहीं था पहले. अभी बढ़ रहा है. It's going. There are leagues now that are being run here. So I think sport के growth के लिए बहुत अच्छा है. Plus there are rumors now that it's coming back to the World Cup is coming back to the US in 2034, given how amazing all the facilities and stadiums were over here. So I hope that happens. So I don't have to travel somewhere to watch it. No, not in 2034. उसके बाद जो है वो 38 या 42 में bid होने वाला है. Sorry.
Okay.
तो उसमें.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I would say, those are all the positives, right? Games have been amazing, crowd's been amazing, everything's going well. Yeah, ये referee की quality मेरे हिसाब से बहुत ही कचरा है ये बार. That's the only word to use. These referees are कचरा. Like there are significantly better referees when you go look at European leagues, UEFA Champions League में जाओ. I mean, this is even pre-VAR. You might have like one bad call in maybe 10 games. वो भी कोई offside या किसी में जो भी debatable हो सकता है कि थोड़ा पाँव इधर उधर है और एक subjectivity होती है गेम में. अभी तो क्या है कि आप बोल रहे हो आपको subjectivity निकालनी है VAR में, लेकिन VAR में objective assessment के अंदर subjectivity आ गई है. So what I mean is there will be, for example, a series of events, right? पहला एक छोटा फाउल हुआ है, जो रेफरी ने बोला है कि ओके कंटिन्यू प्ले क्योंकि एडवांटेज या जो भी डिसाइड किया हुआ है, या फिर कुछ हुआ है जिसमें डिबेटेबल है लेकिन रेफरी ने कुछ बताया नहीं है. ओके, देन नेक्स्ट स्टेप हैपेंस. फिर थर्ड चीज होती है. ओके, आपने थर्ड चीज हुई ना, तो उसमें आपने बोला कि ये गोल नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि ये सेकंड चीज हुई है. अरे सेकंड के पहले जो हुआ उसकी बात करो ना. लाइक यू कैन नॉट say that you want to be objective, but then you're being subjective at the same time while applying the objectivity. Like that cannot happen, right? You have to choose where does the game stop. और यही हुआ है काफी सारी गेम्स में. Like we talk about Argentina, everybody's mad at Argentina.
Egypt,
Look, let's be honest. Argentina has not done anything wrong. They haven't done anything wrong. They are trying to get as much advantage out of the situation as possible. Like every other team, they are not in with the referees or any of that. Neither are the referees in with them, क्योंकि ये लोग different nationalities की referees भी लेके आते हैं उसके अंदर. ऐसा नहीं, अभी तो I think 5 रेफरी है. 2 जो लाइन में साइड में भागते हैं, जो मेन रेफरी है बीच में, और जो VAR ग्रुप है आई थिंक उसमें भी 3 है, सो इट्स लाइक 6 रेफरीज इन टोटल, राइट? और वो लोग कॉन्स्टेंटली बात कर रहे हैं अपने ईयरपीस में या जो भी है. Like you said before, I think they need to get their act together. Like by and large, I think this World Cup has been incredible. I have no complaints so far. I don't know what I'm going to do after July 19th. Just completely consumed by watching every single game, going out to all these public viewing parties and things like that. But it's been great. I mean,
Good experience.
I just hope that we don't end up with a controversy. I think that's the last thing I want to say before we close is, obviously everybody knows the top 4 teams that are based on ranking are now in the semifinals, right? Yeah, maybe all of these adding extra teams and all that stuff just made things entertainment कि अरे काबो वेर्डे ने अर्जेंटीना को टक्कर दे दी. ओके ठीक है भाई, अल्टीमेटली तो जो टॉप टीम है वही आई है ना, तो ये टाइम वेस्ट क्यों कर रहे हो, राइट? पूरा एक एक्स्ट्रा राउंड डाल के 1.5 महीने का वर्ल्ड कप करने का क्या पॉइंट है? यू कुड हैव जस्ट स्टक टू द ओल्ड फॉर्मेट, ग्रुप स्टेज से सीधा राउंड ऑफ 16, क्वार्टर्स, सेमीज, फाइनल, राइट? खत्म करो, मूव ऑन विथ योर लाइफ. ठीक है, ये लोग ने किया हुआ है. अभी ये टॉप 4 है, उसमें भी अभी भी ये रेफरी और सबका कंट्रोवर्सी चल रहा है, राइट? एंड आई डोंट सी अ सोल्यूशन राइट नाउ, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. आई थिंक आई एम स्टिल, in fact, I think I'm seeing things get worse with every round. Like the Argentina game that just happened, right? Against Switzerland,
Egypt.
right? Egypt वाले में तो था ही controversy.
Yes, the recent
अभी स्विट्जरलैंड के सामने भी controversy हुई है, right? तो every game में add हो रहा है. इंग्लैंड की गेम के अंदर नॉर्वे वालों में भी एक controversy हुई थी, right? They saying the ball hit the wire, the spider cam wire.
Okay.
And because of that, it landed with England, and then they scored in like the next 30 seconds.
But that should be a dead ball.
अब क्रिकेट की टर्मिनोलॉजी है, but you get my point. No, the referees are saying कि सेंसर जो बॉल के अंदर है ना, वो सेंसर में आया नहीं, हाँ पिकअप नहीं हुआ. But I'm like, dude, you can see it.
You can see
it. What are you talking about, right? सेंसर गया भाड़ में तेरा.
That's called too much technology, man. You're just ignoring what you see.
But either way, right? So I think we're at the semis. I just hope things go well. I honestly cannot wait for the World Cup to come back to the US. And not that the US is the only place. I think Portugal, Morocco and Spain will be incredible as well. But again, ये थोड़ा टेक्नोलॉजी और रेफरी का वो लोग फिक्स कर देते हैं ना, तो ये you could bring more people into the sport, right? आप इंडिया में सोचो, इंडिया में people say that there are close to what about 300 to 400 million people that at least watch some version of फुटबॉल. कुछ तो देखते हैं उसमें, राइट? यूरोपियन लीग देख लो या वर्ल्ड कप देख लो. दैट्स अ ह्यूज पॉपुलेशन. यूएस के पॉपुलेशन जितना हुआ, मतलब कितने लोग देख रहे हैं, राइट? यूएस में probably you don't have more than 50 million people, I think, based on what I saw, that are watching the sport, right? तो इतना बड़ा फैन बेस है वहां पे. आपको उनको लाना है तो आपको ये सब चीज में you have to get up to the standard of other sports, right? Whether it's cricket, NFL, रग्बी या कोई भी स्पोर्ट है, VAR, रेफरी की क्वालिटी आपको लानी पड़ेगी. वरना people are like, अरे ये क्या है, ये तो सब सेटिंग किया हुआ है. That's what people would say. So I think that's important. दूसरा, it's very good to see that one thing that I think the BCCI or ICC in cricket can learn is the way FIFA takes all of this money that they bring in from the World Cup and they push it back out to a much larger extent than the ICC board does, back into different countries, and they intentionally try to promote the sport. मतलब just for participating they are giving you money because उनको पता है कि ये जो छोटी countries है, for example, like Cabo Verde is a small island, right? कुछ नहीं है उनकी economy. They need the support and the money. उनके players individually rich होंगे क्योंकि वो लोग यूरोप में खेलते हैं.
Right, but yeah, just
हाँ, लेकिन जो facilities है, जो young बच्चा है, right? उसका क्या होगा? So they are handing out all of this money that they're pulling in, right? Yeah, we can argue कि भाई ticket, ये finals की game है, some of the tickets are going upwards of $25,000-$35,000. लेकिन some of that obviously makes its way to resellers, but a lot of it goes to FIFA as well. So I think that's something to learn for other sports, is to take all of that and funnel it back in. But yeah, I mean, I think...
I have $1 million question for you. Messi or Ronaldo?
एक भी नहीं, अपना Mbappe. It's not even comparable.
No? All right. Because yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot, but yeah, that's what, whenever there is a football talk, yeah, you will get asked this question. And since Ronaldo just retired, I mean, yeah, there was a...
I mean, don't get me wrong, they're good. They're both good. They both have different styles. In fact, they both play very different positions, and उनकी strategy बहुत ही different है, right? लेकिन in terms of, for me, who is a more lethal player, right? Who will probably end up, at least statistically, surpassing them at the international stage, which is important, right? Yeah, league level mein, I don't think Messi and Ronaldo can be beat. They've played much longer. I think they also hit their peak much earlier, in my view, than Mbappe did. But internationally, because the way the French team is so good and they've got that trifecta now, right?
Yeah.
I think Mbappe is going to break all the records.
I think in any sport, like when it comes to GOAT debate, you cannot take a snapshot of a year or two and then start talking about it. For GOATs, it has always been about longevity. Sachin Tendulkar, I mean, yeah, you would find a lot of players who are as good for like 2 years, 5 years, but you would not find a player who is that good for that many years.
Consistency and
so
longevity, right?
is the key when you talk about GOATs. So, I mean, that's my opinion. Like,
but honestly, you know what? The thing with soccer is there is no concept of a GOAT. Like, let me maybe rant a bit here. People have talked about, oh, the greatest of all time. How can you compare? The game is fundamentally different. Did you think Maradona played with a hydration break?
But that's for
like,
every
did
sport.
Pele play with a hydration break? Forget Pele and Maradona. I mean, back in the day, R9, the OG Ronaldo, my God, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Cafu, like that incredible Brazilian team. If they had a water break, heck, they destroy teams with like 10 goals. Like, these people played straight, no complaints, nothing. And they still destroyed, like, what, 2002, the way they destroyed Germany. And Germany was unstoppable, right? Unka goalkeeper jo tha, I remember. Lekin they just kept hammering and hammering and hammering until they eventually got something in, right? तो ये जो गोट और सबका जो डिबेट है ना, वो आजकल वो लोग बहुत ही it's just marketing.
But that's with every sport, man. It keeps changing. Even for cricket, right? Like Sunil Gavaskar. That era, they didn't have any helmet as well. And those bowlers, like at that time, 140 plus, I mean, good luck. But that guy did it for years, and he hit like 8 or 10 centuries against West Indies. So he would be the GOAT of the GOATs for a lot of people.
क्रिकेट की बात में पूरा गेम बदल गया है कब से.
Exactly.
क्रिकेट में बॉल चेंज करते हो आजकल. क्या बात है?
You get two new balls.
Sachin Tendulkar used to play with that soft ball in the 40th over. आप वो बेचारा मारने की ट्राई करेगा तो जाता नहीं है 6 में.
और रिवर्स स्विंग होता था वो बॉल, like.
Exactly. It's not the same sport. No. So I hate how people try to compare this.
And there was like only one power play. These days you get 2 new balls from 2 ends. Boundaries are much smaller. A lot of advantages offered to players. Like hell, like Sachin Tendulkar, if he had the DRS, he would have another 20 more centuries, like the decision review system. Because Steve Buckner, as you know.
Forget that. I'll compare this, right? So you're talking about cricket, right? I'll give you the football equivalent, right? Football में we talk about hydration break. चलो वो तो नया है ये World Cup में, right? इसके पहले ज़्यादा नहीं हुआ है. उसके बाद you look at all the technology that these players have, right? ये जो ball है ना, पहले के बॉल तो कभी कभी ऑडली स्विंग भी होते थे. ये आजकल के बॉल है ना, इनका पूरा एरोडायनामिक्स ये लोग ने सेट किया हुआ है. 2002 का बॉल जाके देखो, वो बॉल ऐसे बेंड होता था कभी कभी. एवरी वर्ल्ड कप द बॉल चेंज्ड एंड प्लेयर्स डिडंट गेट लाइक टू मच टाइम विद इट बिफोर. तो कुछ ना कुछ उसकी कंट्रोवर्सी चलती रहती थी. उसके बाद द गेम हैज बिकम अ लॉट लेस फिजिकल देन इट यूज्ड टू बी. If you go back to like the 90s and you look at some of the games in the English Premier League, literally ये जो आजकल वो हालैंड का सॉन्ग चल रहा है ना, there's a line in there. Roy Keane tried to kill his dad. If you ever go back and look at that video, Roy Keane literally lifted his studs and just rammed into his ये जो Erling Haaland का dad है ना, when his father used to play, he rammed into his knee to the point where his dad could not play soccer after that at the professional level. तो क्या हुआ उसमें? हाँ, येलो, उसको रेड कार्ड दिया. ठीक है. अभी क्या होता? रेड कार्ड के साथ अरे इतना सस्पेंशन है, 10 मैच का सस्पेंशन दे दिया है, वी आर स्ट्रिपिंग यू ऑफ, ये वो इतना सारा होता अभी. It's a same thing with Sachin. I mean, back in the day, you would have bowlers. I mean, you had what? Glenn McGrath, Jason Gillespie, Bradley, Wasim Akram, right? Shoaib Akhtar. I mean, it was a freaking Alan Donald. Like, it's a different animal altogether.
That man
basketball
is the goat for me.
Yeah, let's take basketball, right? When Michael Jordan played, you had such a physical game. आज ये LeBron है. राइट LeBron को ये सॉकर जैसा हो गया है, उसको ऐसा कोई छुएगा ना तो वो डाइव मार देता है, गिर जाता है. क्योंकि बास्केटबॉल हैज गॉन द वे ऑफ फुटबॉल बेसिकली इन दैट वे कि थोड़ा भी फिजिकल एस्पेक्ट जो है ना, कोच ने बोल दिया है भाई ज्यादा डोंट ट्राई टू बी टफ, somebody touches you just drop, right? That's just like they train football players. So it's a completely different sport. But either way I think this debate can go on forever. Personally मुझे गोट के डिबेट बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है. I think हर जनरेशन में 15 से 20 साल का एक जनरेशन होता है, उसमें you can see 5 to 6 amazing players and then you can't compare them to the previous one. आपको you dwell in your memories, based on when you grew up, and then you live with them, when you talk about it. But there's no point comparing across generations. So either way, I hope you guys had fun. Please continue watching. I think it's been an amazing World Cup. We still have a few more games, the semis and the finals. And so we'll hope to see you in the next one.